Hey, it's Tina Lorraine, Certified Abundant Mindset Coach and your Ghostwriter Guru. And I wanted to jump on really quick this morning and just talk about attaching yourself to God instead of your vision. And what am I talking about? Oh, it sounds scary. Sounds scary, Coach Tina. I don't know if I can attach myself to God and not the vision. And so I was kind of meditating and thinking about the scripture that says, write the vision and make it plain, and so that he or she who reads it may run with it. For the vision still awaits till an appointed time, but it doesn't lie. And if it seems slow, it will surely come. It will not delay. So I was thinking about all the visions that I've had in my life and all the things that I've attached, all these feelings and emotions that I attached to the vision, to what I wanted to accomplish. And then I would stress myself out about, did I do it right? Am I doing all the stuff? Am I remaining true to what I want, to the results? And if I didn't have the results, I would think, okay, so what is wrong with me? Where did I fail at? What am I missing? God, you gave me this vision. Why is it not coming to pass? And when I started to kind of just sit in quiet about it, I think a lot of times we forget that even though God told us to make the vision plain and to write it down, that's for us. We have to write it down. We have to make it plain, to organize, and to give ourselves hope and to give ourselves direction. So there's nothing wrong with making a vision. We're the humans. God tells us how to be successful, how to achieve the things that we want to achieve. But I think what we tend to forget is that the part that says it's for an appointed time. And then there's, the fact that we have to have patience to run a race. And we forget about that because we start listening to all the gurus, and there's nothing wrong with the gurus that tell us work hard, get it done, get your goals done, this is the list, blah, blah, blah. Check the list. Make sure you're working hard. If you want to be successful, you have to work hard. And we get attached to what humans say more so than what God is instructing us to do. And it's not to say that you're not getting good advice from good people. I hope you are, because we all need mentors. We all need people who have paved the way in the areas that we want to be successful in. So yes, we should have mentors. We should follow people that are successful in the things that we want to be successful in. But at the same time, we have to remember that we have an inner voice and a Holy Spirit that guides us, and that God also gives us everything within. And so we can't forget that, and we also can't get the order. We cannot take the order of things and reverse them. We cannot get attached to what people say versus what God is saying to you about your journey. Yes, make the vision and make it plain, but don't get attached to the results. Don't get attached to how it's going to come to pass, because the route that God takes you down is going to very well probably be a different route than he took your mentor down, or your friends down, or whoever you deem as successful down. Whatever the change you're making in your life, there's a unique way that you are going to be able to achieve it, because there are things that are unique to you that you're going to have to heal. There are things that are unique to you about the way you think. There are things that are unique to you about the path that you have to travel that others are not necessarily going to have to go down that specific strategic plan that God has for you. So although the vision is the vision, no matter how big you think the vision is, how small it is, maybe you just want to change your behavior, maybe you just want peace, actually peace is a big deal, because a lot of people walk around without peace. So obtaining peace a lot of times might look like all hell is breaking out in your life when you pray for peace. And you're like, wait a minute, God, how do I obtain peace and everything's, going awry? And it's finding peace and contentment no matter what is going on with the vision in your life on the inside of you. Because if you don't have peace and joy and love as a basis, then it's hard to you attach yourself to results into these stories that you tell yourself that if you don't do it this way, you're not successful. If you don't do it that way, it's very, you make a war, you start battling yourself, and you start battling the internal way that God has given you, the road that God has implanted in your heart to take. You start going at war with it because you're looking at somebody else, you're listening to somebody else, and you're not going within to see what the results are, to see what the plan is for you. So a lot of times we have to let plans unveil themselves, and we have to have the patience and we have to trust God and trust God in us, that the unveiling is taking place no matter how small the steps are, no matter what it looks like to you. Because even when you compare what you're seeing or what you're producing to what you think it should be, we have to remember that we have a lot of ways of thinking that are connected to the way society says to do something, the way our childhood has, the way we compare ourselves. We tell ourselves these stories that, I'm not saying that they're necessarily toxic all the time, but a lot of times we think the opposite way of what spiritually God will show us how to do something. So what makes sense to us, a lot of times, it doesn't make sense to God to do it that way. And so we go with what makes sense to us, and then we bump our heads and we wonder why it's not working, or it's taking so slow, or whatever, or we get temporary relief. And then we're like, why is this not working, God? And God was like, well, I'm trying to show you how to work it, but because it doesn't look, you feel like, because it doesn't feel, it's not a big enough, you're not doing enough, you're not achieving enough, you're not working hard enough. And a lot of times that's the mindset that goes in opposition to what God is trying to show you. And we have to remember that although these visions or these dreams or this information that God gives us are appointed for a time, and we have to have patience, we have to have perseverance, we have to believe in ourselves, we have to have confidence in ourselves, all those wonderful things. But as you're doing that, as you're loving yourself, you have to trust the God within you. So if the results are not necessarily what you think they should be at the time that you've appointed, and you have to go back to love and remember, do I really trust God? Have I really surrendered this to God? And then you have to go back and say, look, I don't think I'm seeing this the way you're seeing it, God. So I need you to help me. I need you to help me surrender this to you. And I've had to do this on my health journey, like I told you guys before, with all these autoimmune things going on. It's like, okay, healing yourself, Western medicine, all of it combined. What is my path, God? So I have to do the things that I know to do, which is, yes, I go to doctors. I also affirm myself. I also read books actually, I'm reading a book now by a physician called, I can't remember the name of it, but it has to do with mind over matter and being able to heal yourself. And this is an actual doctor who only believed in science. You can explain everything with science, but then she came to find out that a lot of people were doing like spontaneous remissions, which had a lot to do with the way they were thinking and believing. And I already know that your mind is a powerful tool. Our minds are powerful tools, and our bodies know how to heal themselves. Now, do I necessarily know all the ins and outs of how to do that? No. So I had to read and research, which is what I do. And I take the small steps, what I know to do. And I also, when I'm meditating, I listen to God and I say, hey, am I doing this right? Or what I feel in my spirit, what do I need to do? If I have peace about my actions, then I'm good. And it's not necessarily that I have like A to Z, do this, turn right, go left, it's going to do this. No, it's a knowing in your spirit and a trusting in your spirit and a love that you feel that prompts you, and you're peaceful. Peace is always the biggest sign as to whether or not you're in alignment and you're trusting God and you're surrendering whatever needs to be surrendered. And so let peace guide you, and don't let your past, the way you think it should be going. If you're moving too slow, if you're moving too fast, that's why it's important to align, because the vision is for an appointed time. And as long as you're moving with God every day, just get up and be grateful for the day. It's always good to start your day off being grateful, because that brings peace. And peace is the greatest guide you'll ever have. Peace and love, for believing in yourself, for having confidence in yourself, for trusting yourself, and for knowing that you're on the right path. Because, God also tells us there's a path that seems right to mankind, man, woman, but at the end of it is destruction. So sometimes we think we know it all. We think if we follow the right person, if we read the right books, that we know it all. I don't know it all. I know that. When I read and I research, I'm doing it so I can open my mind and heart to the information that's good for me for my path. I know that God's ways are higher than my ways, and a lot of times what don't make sense to me is usually God. Because when I do things the peaceful way, which is love, the God way, I have peace and things turn out right. But when I do things from a place of what I felt didn't work in the past, and I failed in the past, so I'm not going to do it this way, that's when I start stumbling and struggling. And whenever I compare myself to anybody else, I start stumbling and struggling. So I'm just getting on to tell you today to be confident in the vision, and yes, write it down and make it plain for you, and understand that's to keep you motivated. When God tells us to make the vision plain and to be motivated, that's to keep us motivated, to keep us going, to keep us persevering, to keep us knowing that our purpose path is that vision, what we wrote in the vision. Or if you're not writing the vision, or if you're putting it on your computer, however you're manifesting the vision, yes, you can write it down, but be fluid when God moves you and how to achieve the vision. Sometimes it's not all about the ABCs of the top 10 gurus of the business world, or whoever you're following, of the Weight Watchers world, or whatever. Yes, inform yourself, do your research, but then take all that research with all you're getting, get an understanding like God tells us. Take all that research, and then in your quiet time, see what's the best fit for you. See what's the next step for you. Okay? So I just wanted to encourage you today to write the vision and make it plain. Be encouraged, surrender the vision, and attach yourself to God instead of the results. Because through God, you will get the results. You'll get the results you want to achieve. You might not get it the way you feel like it should come, but you still get it. So what's the best way to do something? The way you want to do it, or the way God tells you to do it? I think because God made us, we ought to do it the way God tells us to do it, because God knows our hearts, and He knows the best plan for us to get to where we need to go. So I just wanted to encourage you today to keep strong, keep faith, keep your confidence, do the small steps, stay in peace and alignment. And I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.